Hello everyone, my name is Lucio Constantine and welcome to the show. Today I'll be reading some poems from the Oxford Book of English Verse, which was recommended by Drunzo, Drunzo. He makes excellent book videos on classics and contemporary fiction and Greek history. So if you're interested in other channels, go check him out. I mentioned him in my last video. I will be discussing several poems outside of the book, like John Donne or the poem Strange Fruit, which is written in 1940 or 1939, which is about the lynching of African Americans. Every time I begin to write, I read that poem along with Cormac McCarthy's The Road and Suttree for inspiration to see if I can muster up anything of worth or anything that is equivalent to their prowess of prose. So let's not waste any more time and let us embark on a journey to poetry once again. I am loading up my collection of poems, which will start by Aubade, that is Aubade, by William Devenant. Quote, "The lark now leaves his watery nest, and climbing shakes his dewy wings. He takes a window for the east, and to implore your light he sings, Awake, awake, the morn will never rise till she can dress her beauty at her eyes. The merchant bows unto the seaman's star, the ploughman from the sun his season takes, but still the lover wonders what they are, who look for day before his mistress wakes. Awake, awake, break through your veils of lawn, then draw your curtains and begin the dawn." End quote. The next is a poem that was turned into a song by Billie Holiday, who sang it, and it was written by a teacher, I believe. I could be wrong, I'm not sure. But it's about the lynching of African Americans in the 40s, as it was written in 1939. Here is Strange Fruit. Quote, "Southern trees bearing a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees, pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh, then the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here is a fruit for the crow to pluck, for the rain to wither, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for the trees to drop. Here is a strange and bitter crop." It was written by Abel Meeropol in 1937. Now, of course, the universe bestowed upon me a faulty memory, of which I remember this poem after my last video on poetry, of which you had to bear witness of me forgetting the poem in its entirety. However, I'm mentioning it here and hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. For Whom the Bell Tolls is the title of which Ernest Hemingway wrote his novel in the 1900s. It is taken from the poem by John Donne of the same name, called For Whom the Bell Tolls, of which no man is an island unto himself, and he is amongst the realm of other sentient creatures of this planet. Quote, "No man is an island entire of itself, each is a piece of the continent, a part of the main, if a cloud be washed away by the sea. Europe is the less, as well as a promontory were, as well as if a minor of thine own, or of thine friends were. Each man's death diminishes me, for I am involved in mankind. Therefore I send not to know for whom the bell tolls. It tells for thee. It tolls for thee. John Donne was an English writer and poet, of which Christopher Hitchens mentions in his interviews. Christopher Hitchens was a prolific writer of Vanity Fair. He wrote God's Not Great, Letters to a Young Contrarian, and Hitch 22. He was a new atheist, and although there is nothing new about atheists, there is all the more new about Christopher Hitchens. John Donne was a poet in 1572 to 1631. He was a Catholic in a time when the denomination was illegal in England. He endured constant prejudice and harassment and was ultimately forced to join the Anglican Church by King James I. The Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams. He was a poet who was friends with Ezra Pound, and had affinities for D.H. Lawrence. He wrote in the early 1900s, and he was mentioned in the TV show Mr. Robot, where Tyrell Wellick recites a poem called The Red Wheelbarrow, from which his father repeated to him only because it was the only English that his father knew. The Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chicken. End quote. He was a physician and worked at a hospital, and he was also a writer as well. Here is a poem by W. S. Murren. Murren was recommended in the reading list for True Detective on Reddit. Although I quit social media, I still browse through Reddit for book recommendations as well. I get most of my book recommendations from Academy of Ideas, Jordan Peterson, of which I'm resigning affiliation with officially, having only realized that I only like Jordan Peterson for the way he speaks and his mannerisms with his hands, and having nothing else in common with his political views except for the transgender debate, which I made a video on previously called Becoming Nicole, which is about a transgender individual who switched their gender and experienced political and emotional ramifications for their actions. Here is W. S. Murren for the anniversary of my death. Every year, without knowing it, I have passed a day when the last fires were saved to me, and the silence will set out, tireless traveler, like the beam of a lightless star. Then I will no longer find myself in life as in the strange garment, surprised at the earth, and the love of one woman, and the shamelessness of men, as today riding after 3 days of rain, hearing the wren sing and the falling cease, and bowing not knowing to what. Here is a quote from W. S. Murren called, quote, April, when we have gone, the sun will stop laughing, singing. April, April, sings through the sand of names, days to come, with no stars hidden in them. You that can wait being there, you that lose nothing, know nothing. End quote. Here is a quote. Here is a poem from Edgar Allan Poe, who writes dark, macabre poems, of which his own fate of death was dark and macabre as well. The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once a quote, once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of some one gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. As distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember voltage goes upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from the books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here for evermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor intruding entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor intruding entrance at my chamber door. This is it and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness, there, nothing more. Deep into the darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there was spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." Then I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this and nothing more. Back into the chamber running, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "there is surely that is something at my window lattice. I let me see then what there is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still at the moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind and nothing more." Open here, I flung the shutter, with many a flirt and a flutter. In the step, in their stepped a stately raven of the sailing days of yore, nor the later obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or said, "Stay here," but with a mind of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched above, perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird, beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countess in war, to the chest be shorn and shaven. I said, "Art sure no craven, ghastly, grim, and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marveled this ungainly found to hear discourse so plainly, though it answered little meaning, little relevancy bore, for we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word as if his soul, in that one word he did outpour, nothing further than he uttered, nor not further than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, "Other friends have flown before, on the narrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before." Then the bird said nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, "Doubtless," said I, "what it utters It is my only stock and store. Caught from unhappy, caught from unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster till the songs one burden bore, till the digers of his hope that melancholy burden bore of nevermore. But the raven was beguiling all my fancy into smiling. Straight I wheeled and cushioned seat in front of a bird and bus and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what is ominous bird of yore, that the grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt and ominous bird of yore, men is croaking, nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, with no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burning to my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated over, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating over, she shall press nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tuffled floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God has lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite and nepenthe from the memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff, this kind that pain, and forgot this lost Lenore, quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, were the tempter sent, or were the tempter tossed thee here ashore, desolate, yet all undaunted, on this desert land, enchanted on this home, by horror unhaunted. Tell me truly, I implore, is there is there a balm in the Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Prophet, said I, a thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by the heaven that bends above us, by the God we both adore, tell the soul which laden if with the distant Aiden, it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden, through from which angels angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word of our sign of parting, bird or fiend. I shrieked uncertain. Get thee back into the temples and the nice Plutonian shore. Leave no back plume as token of the lie thy soul has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take the great beak from out of my heart, and take thy form from all my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven never flitted, still is sitting, on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight over him streaming through his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out of that window that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. End quote. So that was The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. I adore the rhyming and schematics of the entire poem, like Door with Nevermore or Chamber Door and rapping and tapping. I have I have here if I can find it. I have here somewhere on my shelf the complete poems of Edgar Allan Poe. I can't find it right now, but it should be good. I haven't read it yet. I recently finished Benjamin Franklin's Silence Dogwood, which was from 1722. to 1775. It's about politics and government in in America and Britain in the 1700s, before and around the Civil War. He was a statesman, an electrician, a composer, and a writer, and a politician. He was governor of Pennsylvania for 3 years, and he wrote Science Dogwood at 16 with the various pen names. Authors of the 1700s used pen names like Publius in their writings to avoid persecution or outcry from their enemies. So, The Cast of Amontillado is another poem by Edgar Allan Poe. It was written in 1846 and is quite long, so I won't be reading the whole thing. Maybe just the first paragraph to get a taste of it. The thousand injuries of Fortunato I had borne as best I could, but when he ventured upon insult, I vowed revenge. You who so well the nature of my soul will not suppose, however, that gave utterance to a treat, to a threat. At length I will be avenged. This was a point definitely settled, but the very defensiveness with which it was resolved precluded the idea of rest. I must only punish, but not punish with impunity. A wrong is addressed when the retribution overtakes its addressor. It is equally unjust when the avenger fails to make himself felt as much as such to him who has done the wrong. So those were the miscellaneous poems that I read. Now I'll be reading poems from that was compiled and edited by Haley Gardner in the Oxford Book of English Verse. We'll be starting with John Milton's poems, which is Hymn on Christ's Nativity from 1608 to 1674. We're starting with John Milton. How did you know? My favorite poem. Helen Gardner must have been aware that I will read this poem one day and adore John Milton's work forevermore. So here is Hymn on the Morning of Christ's Nativity, composed 1629. It was a winter's wild, while the heaven-born child, all meanly wrapped in the rude man's lies, nature in all trim, had doffed her gaudy trim, with her great master, so to sympathize. There was no reason then for her to wanton with the sun, her lusty paramour, only with speeches fair, she rose a gentle air, to hide her guilty front with innocent snow, and on her naked shame pollute with sinful blame the saintly veil of maiden white to throw. Confounded that her Maker's eyes should look so near upon her foul deformities, but her fears to cease when down the meek crease she crowned with olive green came softly sliding down through the turning sphere, his ready harbinger, with turtle wings the enormous clouds dividing, and waving wide her myrtle when she strikes a universal peace through sea and land. No war or battle sound was heard the world around. The idle spear and shield were high upon the hooked chariot stood, unstained with hostile blood. The trumpet spake not to the armed throng, and kings sat still with awful eye, as if merely surely knew their sovereign lord was by. But peaceful was the night, wherein the Prince of Light his reign of peace upon the earth began. The winds with wonder whist, smoothly the waters kissed, whispers the new joys to mild ocean, who now hath quite forgot to rave, while birds of calm, sit brooding on a charmed wave. The stars were deeply amazed, stand fixed in steadfast gaze, bending one way with precious influence, and will not take their flight for all the morning light, or Lucifer that often wane them thence, them thence, but in their glimmering orbs did glow, until the Lord himself bespake, and bid them go, and through the shady gloom had given day her room. The sun himself withheld his wanton speed, and hid his head for shame, and his inferior flame. The new unlighted world no more should need. He saw a great sun appear, that then his bright throne a burning axle tree could bear. The shepherds on the lawn, or ere the point of dawn, sat simply chatting in the rustic row. Full little thought they then that the mighty Pan was kindly come to live with them below. Perhaps their loves, or else their sheep, was all that kind, was all that did their silly thoughts so busy keep. When such music is sweet, their hearts and ears they greet, as never was by finger struck, divinely warbled voice, answering their ringing noise, all their souls in blissful rapture took. The air was pleasure both to lose. A thousand echoes so prolongs each heavenly close. Nature that heard such wound beneath thy hollow round, O Cynthia's seat, the airy region filling, now was almost won. To think her part was done, and that her reign here is thus fulfilling. She knew such harmony alone could hold all heaven and earth in happy union. At last surrendered the light, a globe of circular light, endowed with long beams, the shamefaced knight arrayed, the helmed cherubim and sword seraphim are seen in glittering ranks, with wings displayed, harping in loud and solemn choir, with unexpected notes to heaven newborn air. Such music, as is said, before was never made, but when of old the sons of morning sung, when the Creator great in constellations sat, and the well balanced world on hinges hung, and then cast the dark foundations deep, and bid the weltering waves their oozy channel keep. Ring out, ye crystal fears, once bless our human ears, if ye have power to touch our senses so, and let your silver chime move in melodious time, and let the bass of heaven deep organ blow, and with your ninefold harmony make up full concert to the angelic symphony. For such holy song, and wrap our fancy long, time will run back and fetch the age-old gold, and speckled vanity, and sicken soon and die, and Libra's sun will melt from earthly mold, and hell itself will pass away, and leave the colorous mansions to the appearing day. Ye truth and justice then will down return to men, orbed in a rainbow, and like stories like glories wearing mercy will sit between, throned in celestial sheen, with radiant feet the tissue clouds down steering, and heaven, as at some festival, with open wide the gates of her high palace hall. But wisest fate says no, this must not yet be so. The babe lies in smiling infancy, that on the bitter cross must redeem our loss. So both himself and us to glorify. Ye first, yet first, to these chained in sleep, the wakeful trump of doom must thunder through the deep. With such a horror clan as on the Mount Sinai rang, while the red fire and smoldering clouds outbreak, the aged earth, aghast with terror of the blast, shall from the surface to the center shake, when at the world's session the dreadful judge in the middle air and spread his throne, and then at last our bliss, full and perfect is, but now begins, far from his happy day, the old dragon underground, in straighter limits bound, no half so far, casts his unsharp sway, and wroth to see his kingdom fail, swings the scary horror of his holding tail. The oracles are dumb, no voice or hidden hum, runs to the arch-truth in words deceiving. Apollo from his shrine can be no more divine, with hollow shriek the steep of Delphi leaving. The mighty trance or breathe spell inspires the pale-eyed priest from the prophetic cell. The lonely mountains over, and the resounding shore, a voice, a weeping heard, in loud lament from haunted spring and dale, edged with poplar pale, the parting genius is with sighing sent, with flower enwoven trees torn, the nymphs in twilight shade of tangled thickets mourn, in consecrated earth, and on the holy earth the larch and the moors mourn with midnight plant, and urge and altar sound, a dry and diving sound, a drear and dying sound, of frights the laments at their savage plaint, and the church marbles seem to sweat, while each peculiar power forgoes his wonted seat. Pure and Balaam forsake their temples dim, with the twice married god of Palestine, and moon Ashtaroth, heaven queen and mother both, now sits nor girt with tapers holy shrine. The lib Hammon shrinks his horn. In vain the tired maids their wounded Thelmas mourn, and sullen Moloch fled, hath left in shadows dread his burning idol, all of bleakest hue. In vain with cymbals ring, they call the grisly thing, in dismal dance about the furnace blue. The brutish gods of Nile as fast, Isis and Osiris, and the dogs, Anubis haste. Nor is Osiris seen in Memphis grove or green, trampling the uncharmed grass with blowings loud, nor can he be at rest within the sacred chest. Naught but profoundest hell can be his shroud. In vain the timberland anthems dark, the stable still sorcerers bear his worship ark. He feels from Judah's hand, the dreaded infant's hand, the rays of Bethlehem blind his dusky eyes, nor all the gods their side. Longer there abide not typhoon, his shining and snaky twine. Our babe to show his guarded true, can in the swinging hand bands control the damn crew. So when the sun is in bed, curtained with cloudy red, pillows his chin upon his orient wave, the flocking shadows pale, troop to the infernal jail. Each vertigo slips to the severed grave, and the yellow skirted face fly after the night steeds, leaving their moon loved maze. But see the virgin blessed hath laid her babe to rest. Time is our tedious song should hear, never should hear, have ending. Heaven's youngest team star hath faxed her polished card, her sleeping lord with handmaid lamp attending, and all about the courtly stable, bright harnessed angels sit in order serviceable. This is On His Blindness by John Milton, who wrote Paradise Lost and Paradise Regained, and several other poems, including a poem about Shakespeare. Quote, when I consider how my light is spent, weary have my days, in the dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodged with me useless, though my soul more bent to serve therewith my Maker and present my true my true account, lest he return and chide. Doth God exact day and labor, light denied? I fondly ask with patience to prevent that murmur. Soon replies, God, God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts, who best bears my own your yoke. They serve him best his taste, his keening thousand, at his blinding speed, and post over land and ocean without rest. There are also who only stand and wait. End quote. Here is a section from Paradise Lost called Immoral Hate, of which I remembered. All is not lost. The unconquerable will and study of revenge, of mortal hate, and courage never to submit or yield, and what is else not to be overcome. Here is another poem from Paradise Lost, which is The Banishment. So spake our mother Eve, and Adam heard, well pleased, but answered not, for now too nigh the archangel stood, and from the other hill to their fixed station, all in brighter way, the cherub descended, on the ground gliding meteorous as evening mist, risen from a fevered river over the marsh glides, and gathered around fast as the laborers heal, homeward returning, high in the front advance, the branded sword of God before them blazed fierce as a comet, which the torrid heat and vapor as Libyan air or dust began to parch the temperate clime, where in either hand the hastening angel caught our lingering parents, and to eastern gate led them direct, and down the cliff as fast to the subject pain, then disappeared. They looking back at the eastern side beheld a paradise, so that their happy seat, waved over by that flaming brand, the gate, with dreadful faces thronged and fiery arms, some natural tears they dropped, but wiped them soon. The world was all before them, were to choose their place of rest, and Providence their guide, their hand in hand, and wandering steps, and slow, through Eden, took their solitary way. End quote. Here is a poem by Anonymous. It was written around 1330 to 1400 after a poem by Geoffrey Chaucer, who wrote the Canterbury Tales, which is an Arthurian legend and an English tale. In quote, in the vale of restless mind, I saw a mountain and a mean, trusting in true love for to find upon the hill that I took heed. A voice I heard is called Guia Amore Languero. In the vale of restless mind, I saw a mountain and a mean, trusting in true love for to find upon the hill that I heed. A voice I heard, and near I yeed, in great dolor complaining thou, see thee soul, my side bleed, Guida amore languero. Upon this mount I found a tree. Under this tree a man standing, from head to foot, wounded was he. His heart bled, I saw bleeding, a seeming man to be a king, a gracious face to look into. I asked him how he had painting. He said, Guida amore languero. I am true love that false was never. My sister, my man's soul, I loved her thus, because I would on no wise dissever. I left my kingdom glorious. I purveyed her a place full of precious. She fled, I followed. I loved her so and I suffer in these periods. Guida amore languero. My fair love and spouse bright, I saved her from beating, and she having bet, I clothe her in grace and heavenly light. This bloody surcoat she hath me on set. For longing I will not let sweet strokes beat these. Lo, I have loved her ever as I had. Guida amore languero. This video will be broken up into several parts. It'll be quite long and hopefully not terse, as Christopher Hitchens would say. And hopefully you're enjoying this video as much as I am making it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next part. Thank you. Goodbye. I appreciate all the support and views for however long you've watched. Every one of you matter, and thank you for everything. Goodbye. Hello, everyone. My name is Lucy Constantine. Welcome to the show. It has been some time since my last video, about 2 months. I've been busy with school and work. I recently got a job from September 26th, which was a Thursday, in the library. It has been fun working there. I get to take home several books with me if I find anything of interest. And one of them was the new Oxford Book of English Verse. So, in the previous section of this video, I was reciting poetry. Whether that was well recited or not is beyond my capabilities of understanding. But I was reciting poetry from a different editor called Helen Gardner. This this translation is by Sir Arthur Couch, and you might have seen it in Drenzo's videos. So unfortunately, this is like that because we do reading at the library where we remove the barcode, write the name of it in a piece of paper, and we remove the ISBN number of the book and we throw them away. Sadly, some of the books don't get saved. I saved some Borges, who is a writer from my country, Argentina, a while ago. Anyways, in debate class, in human communication class, we had debates next week or the week after Thanksgiving break, and we have speeches that was 3 minutes for which was done yesterday, of which the speech entails Shiva, the great goddess of Hinduism, which Hinduism arose from 2300 to 1500 BC, and I related to myself with Shiva in inconspicuous and terse manner. So, anyways, we will be reciting some poetry today, and there was a time gap between the first part of the video and the second part of the video. I thought I would do more poems and all the poetry that has been laid out before us, but I thought I'd select a few key that have been important to me. One of the poems is John Donne, who was from 1572 to 1631, and he wrote No Man is an Island, which entails how no man is an island unto himself and is interconnected to the substructure of the species around him and the microorganisms that fluctuate throughout the universe. So here is John Donne, Seek True Religion. Quote, through truth and falsehood be near twins, yet truth a little elder is. Be busy to seek her. Believe me this, he's not a none, not worse, not that seeks the best. To adore or scorn an image or protest may all be bad. Doubt wisely, in strange way, to stand inquiring right is not to stray. To sleep or run wrong is. On a huge hill, crag and steep, truth stands, and he that will reach her about must go. And what the hill's soundness resists, win so, yet strive so, that before age, death's twilight, thy soul's rest, for none can work in the night. To all implies delay, therefore now do. Hard deeds the body pains, harsh knowledge too. The mind's endeavors reach, and mysteries are like the sun, dazzling yet plain to all eyes. Keep the truth which thou hast found. Men do not stand. Sign the king's blank charters to kill whom they hate. Nor are they vicars, but hangmen to fate. Fool and wretch, wilt thou let thy soul be tied to man's laws, by which she shall not be tried at the last day? Will it then boot thee to say a Philip or a Gregory, a Harry or a Martin taught thee this? Is not this excuse for mere contraries equally strong? Cannot both sides say so? That thou mayest rightly obey power, he bounds. No, thou past her nature and names changed to be, then humble to her is idolatry. Extreme our power is, thou blessed flowers that dwell at the rough stream's calm head thrive and prove well, but having left the roots and themselves given to the stream's tyrannous rage, at last are driven through mills and rocks and woods, and at last, almost consumed and going, in the sea are lost. So perish souls which more choose men's unjust power from God, claim that God himself to trust. End quote. So the poem was about the nature of truth and how it stands still in the face of men and how it relates to God as well. Here is another poem by John Donne, which is entitled Song. Quote, sweet is love, I do not go for weariness of thee, nor in hope the world can show a fitter love for me. But since that I must die, alas, 'tis best to use myself in jest. Thus by feigned deaths do die. Yesternight the sun went hence, and yet is here today. He hath no desire nor sense, nor half a nor half so short a way. Then fear not me, but believe that I shall make speedier journeys since I take more wings and spurs than he. Oh, how feeble is man's power, that if good fortune fall, cannot add another hour. But come bad chance, and we join to it our strength, and we teach it our art in length itself over us to advance. When thou sightest not one, but sightest my soul away. When thou weepest unkindly kind, my life's blood doth decay. It cannot be that thou lovest me as thou sayest, if in thine my life thou waste, thou art the blessed of me. Let not thy divining heart forethink me any ill. Destiny may take thy part, and may thy fears fulfill. But think that we are but turned aside to sleep. They who one another keep, alive never parted be. End quote. So we're switching gears to a different poet who was quite important in literature, called Ben Jonson. I am looking for the poem. Ben Jonson from 1573 to 1635. One of the poems is called Hymn to Diana. Queen and huntress, chaste and fair, now the sun is laid to sleep, seated in his silver chair, stayed in one-time manner keep, Hesperus entreats thy light, goddess, excellence bright, earth, let not thy envious shade dare herself to interpose, Cynthia's shining orb was made heaven to clear when day did close, bless us then with wish light, goddess excellently bright, lay thy bow a pearl apart, and thy crystal shining quiver, given unto the flying heart space to breathe, how short soever. Thou that makest a day of night, goddess excellently bright. End quote. Here's another poem. I am not reading the whole thing, just section 3, which is called Johnson, who sang this of him ever he went himself to rest, or taste a part of that full joy he meant to have expressed in this bright asterism, where were friendship's schism, were not his Lucius long with us to tarry, to separate those twilights, the discovery, and keep the one half from his Harry. But fate doth so alternate the design, while that in heaven this light on earth must shine. End quote. Here is another passage or poem from Ben Jonson called To the Memory of My Beloved Mr. William Shakespeare. I therefore will begin, soul of the age, the applause delight, the wonder of our stage. My Shakespeare rise, I will not lodge thee by Chaucer or Spenser, or bid Bournemouth lie a little further to make thee a room. Thou art a moon without a tomb, and art alive still, while thy book doth live, and we have wits to read and praise to give, that I may not mix thee so, my brain excuses, I mean with great, but disproportioned muses, for if I thought my judgment were of years, I should commit thee surely with thy peers, and tell how far thou didst our lively outshine, or sporting kind of Marlowe's mighty line, and though thou hast small Latin and less Greek, from thence to honor thee I will not seek for names, will call for thundering Aeschylus. Um, Aeschylus was a Greek writer who wrote tragedies in ancient Greece. Quote, Euripides and Sophocles to us, Pachyras, Accius, him of Cordova dead, to life again, to hear thy buskin thread, and shake a stage, or when thy socks were on, leave them alone, for the comparison of all the ancient Greece or mighty Greece or haughty Rome, send forth or send stood from their ashes come, triumph, triumph, where Britain thou hast one to show, to whom all the scenes of Europe homage owe. He was not of an age, but for all time, and all the muses still were in the prime, when like Apollo he came forth to warm or our ears, or like a Mercury to charm. Nature herself was proud of his designs, and joyed to wear the dressing of his lines, which were so richly spun and waverly so fit, as since she will vouchsafe no other wit, the merry Greek, Tartuffe, Aristophanes, neat Terence, while Plato's now not pleased, but antiquated and deserted lie, as they were not of nature's family. Yet must I not give nature all thy art, while gentle Shakespeare must enjoy a part. For though the poet's matter nature be, his art doth give the fashion, and that he who casts to write 11 line must sweat, such as thine art, and strike the second heat upon the muse's anvil, turn the same, and himself with it, that he thinks to fame, or for the laurel he may give a scorn, for a good poet is made as well as born, and such wert thou. End quote. We're switching gears once again to another popular and important poet called Alexander Pope. In 1688 and 1744, he wrote Scythian Delights. Here is Scythian Delights by Alexander Pope. See what delights in Sylvan scenes appear. Descending gods have found Elysium here, and was bright Venus with Adonis strayed, and chaste Diana haunts the forest shade. Come, lovely nymph, and bless the silent hours, when swains from sharing seek their mighty powers, when weary reapers quit the sultry field, and, crowned with corn, their thanks to steerers yield. Their harmless grove no lurking viper hides, but in my breast the serpent love abides. Here breeze from blossom sips the rosy dew, but your Alexis knows no sweet but you. The mossy fountains, and the green retreats, wherever you walk, cool gales shall fan the glade. Trees where you sit shall crowd into a shade. Wherever you tread, the blushing flowers shall rise, and all things flourish where you turn your eyes. Here's another poem by Alexander Pope called From the Rape of the Lock, Section I, The Toilet. And now unveiled, the toilet stands displayed, each silver vase in mystic order laid, first robed in white, the nymph intent adores, with heads uncovered, the cosmetic powers, a heavenly image in the glass appears, to that she bends, so that her eyes she rears, the inferior priestess at her altar's side, trembling, begins the sacred rite of pride, unnumbered treasure hopes at once, and here the various offerings of the world appear. From each she nicely culls with curious toil, and decks the goddess with the glittering spoil. The casket in his glowing gems unlocks, and all of Arabia breeze from yonder blocks. Here's another poem by Alexander Pope called Know Thyself. Quote, Now then myself presume not God to scan the proper study of mankind as man, placed on the isthmus of middle state, a being darkly wise and rudely great, with too much knowledge for sceptic side, with too much weakness for stoic pride. He hangs between, in doubt to act or rest, in doubt to deem himself a god or beast, in doubt his mind or body to prefer, born but to die, and reasoning but to err, alike as ignorance his reason such, whether he thinks too little or too much, chaos of thought and passion all confused, still by himself abused or disabused, created half to rise, half to fall, great Lord of all things, yet a prey to all, sole judge of truth, and endless error hurled, the glowing jest and riddle of the world. Here is another poem by Alexander Pope called The Power of Ridicule. Quote, Ask what provocation I have had, the strong antipathy of good to bad, when truth or virtue an affront endures. The affront is mine, my friend, and should be yours. Mine as a foe, profess to false pretense, who think a coxcomb's honor like a sense. Mine as a friend to every worthy mind, and mine as a man who feel for all unkind. You're strongly proud, F. You're strongly proud, P. So proud, I am no slave, so impudent, I own myself no name, so odd, my country's ruin makes me grave. Men not afraid of God, afraid of me, safe from the bar, the pulpit, and the throne, yet touched and shamed by ridicule alone. O secret weapon, left for truth's defense, so dread of folly and insolence, to all but heaven directed hands denied, the muse may give thee, but the God must guide. Wherever I touch, but with honest zeal, to rouse the watchman of public weal, to virtue's work provide the tardy hall, and go the prelate slumbering in the stall, ye tinsel insects, whom a quarter maintains, that counts your beauties only by your stains, spend all your cobwebs over the hour day, the muse wings shall brush you all the way, and his graces preaches, all his lordship sings, all that makes saints of queens and God of kings, all but truth, drop dead born from the press, like the last gazette or the last address. Here is another important poem, but before we go into Samuel Johnson, I'll talk about Charles Wesley, who in Resting Jacob said, I rise superior to my pain and my weakness, and when I'm weak, I am strong, and when all my strength shall fail, I shall rise with I shall I shall rise with God and prevail. Here is Samuel Johnson from 1709 to 1784. Quote, the power of prayer. Where then shall hope and fear their objects find? Must dull suspense corrupt the stagnant mind? Most helpless man, in ignorance sedate, roll darkling down the torrents of his fate. Must no dislike, alarm, no wishes rise, no cries attempt the mercies of the skies. Inquiry cease, petitions yet remain, which heaven may hear, nor deem religion vain. Still raised for good the supplicating voice, believed to heaven the measure and the choice, safe in the power whose eyes discern fair afar, the secret ambush of a suspicious prayer, implore his aid, in his decisions rest. Secure whatever he gives the best. Yet when the sense of sacred presence fires, and strong devotion to the skies aspires, pour forth thy fever for a healthful mind, obedient passions in a well designed resign, for love which scarce collected man can fill, for patience sovereign over transmuted ill, for faith that panting for a happier seat counts death, kinds nature's signal of retreat. These good for man, the laws of heaven ordain. These good he grants, who grants the power to gain. With these celestial wisdom calms the mind and makes the happiness she does not find. End quote. Here is William Blake. He was a poet from 1575 to 1827. He wrote The Tiger and the Marriage of Heaven and Hell and Songs from Innocence. He was featured in Hannibal, if you've seen that show or read the novels, called The Red Dragon. He is also a painter. Quote, to the Muses, whether on Ida's shady brow or in the chamber of the east, this chamber of the sun, that now from ancient melody have ceased, whether in heaven you wander fair, or the green corners of the earth, or the blue regions of the air, whether melodious winds have birth, whether on crystal rocks ye rove, beneath the bosom of the sea, wandering in many a carol grove. Fair nine, forsaking poetry, how have you left the ancient love? The birds of old enjoyed in you. The languid strings do scarcely move. The sound is forced. The notes are few. End quote. The Prince of Love. Quote, how sweet I roamed from field to field, and tasted all the summer's pride, till the Prince of Love beheld, who in summer beams did glide. He showed me lilies for my hair, and blushing roses for my brow. He led me through his gardens fair, where all the golden pleasures grow. He loves to sit and hear me sing, then laugh in sports and plays with me, the stretching out my golden wing, and mocks my loss of liberty. End quote. This is from the tiger. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burned the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? With the hand dared seize a fire? And where soldiers, and what art could twist the sinews of the heart? And when thy heart begins to beat, what dread land, and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain, and what furnace was thy brain? What thy anvil, what dread grasp dare his deadly terror clasp? When the stars threw down their spears, their and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he make the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? Here is another important poet from 1770 to 1850. We have been going over poets of the Revolutionary American writers. Here is Lucy, 1770, 1850. Strange fits of passion have I known, and I will dare to tell, but in the lover's ear alone, what once to me befell. When as she loved, I looked every day, fresh as a rose in June. I to her cottage bent my way, beneath an evening moon. Upon the moon I fixed my eye, all over the wide sea, and quickening pace my horse drew nigh those paths so dear to me. And now he reached the orchard plot, and as we climbed the hill, the sinking moon to Lucy's cot came near and nearer still. In one of those sweet dreams I slept, kind nature's gentlest boon, and all the while my eyes I kept on the descending moon. My horse moved on, hoof after hoof he raised. Sorry for the weird cut and for the mumbling. I will go back to the rest of the poem and make a concluding remark. This is Williams Wordsworth, 1770, 1850. Lucy. My horse moved on, hoof after hoof he raised, and never stopped, when down behind the cottage roof, at once, the bright moon dropped. What fond and wayward thoughts will slide into a lover's hand? Oh mercy, to myself I cried, if Lucy should be dead. That's all you missed from the cut. Apparently, I clicked the record button while not realizing it, but luckily it wasn't midway through the video. So, life updates. I got a job and I'm ending the semester pretty well. I had to repeat math again because I didn't finish in time. Not that I failed math, I got an 81% twice and passed with lower percentage on the second test. I just didn't finish in time, even though I was studying every day for it. Naturally, some resentment, bitterness, and anger arose from my inhibition to complete the task, as I am a task-oriented person, and Nietzsche spoke against resentment-oriented religions like Christianity or life-rejecting philosophies like Buddhism. And I'm actually unaware if you talked about Islam, but besides the point. I read the Quran and did not enjoy it. Maybe I'll read it back again after I reread the Bible. I read the Bible when I was Catholic and young, but I forgot most of it. So I'm at Genesis now, and I tried to attempt at the Bible and made it through Exodus, which is about Egypt and slavery. Apparently, it's completely inaccurate to history from what I read. So what I'm reading Manufacturing Consent by Edward S. Herman and Noam Chomsky. Noam Chomsky, as you all know, is an anarchist, I believe, but I could be wrong. I haven't watched many of Chomsky's debates except for the one he did with William Buckley, who I'm quite fond of, and I do try to become like William F. Buckley and Christopher Hitchens. However, in my speech, I was quite shaken and rattled throughout, unfortunately. Some books I'll be reading in the future is this book. Noam Chomsky made a review of it. Not a review, but he talked about it. It's America Beyond Capitalism. It's an economic book. That should be quite good. Here is the social doctrine. It's quite interesting to think about. And another book I'm currently reading and enjoying is King, A Life by Jonathan Egg. So there have been some recent exposés and discoveries of CIA and FBI documents on MLK, and in the 1900s there was attempt by the CIA or FBI called Project Raccoon to spy on Black Lives not Black Lives Matters, but black protesters in the 60s. And it should be fun or interesting to read about a race that is different from yours and to try to understand the sufferings of a minority class and their struggles towards equality and rightful right rightful acts towards equality. That is all for today. I hope you are doing good, and I appreciate every last one of you. And I love you all, and thank you for watching my videos. Thank you. Have a nice day. Signing out.